everyone, welcome back. Rebecca Jean here with Style My Sweets, and today I am bringing you guys 10 wreath DIYs using Dollar Tree items. These are going to be really fun for either any time of year or especially for spring and Easter. I have a lot of spring and Easter wreath DIYs in this video, along with a few that you could use for any time of year. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoy. Comment down below and let me know your favorite, and let me know if you would want me to do a compilation of wreath DIYs and do videos like this seasonally. Let me know if you want to see more, like I could do a fall wreaths and a Christmas wreath video, so just let me know if you guys would like to see that.
So let's go ahead and get started. And for the first DIY that I have to share with you guys today, I'm taking an 18-inch wreath frame from Dollar Tree, and I am just going to take some leftover ribbon that I had laying around, and I'm going to wrap that around here. Now I'm actually leaving spaces in between the ribbon, and I think that really helps because I'm going to stick the stems of the florals that I'm using into the spaces, and it just kind of gives me a place to stick the stems of the floral pieces into and then hot glue them in there. I feel like it really helps secure and hold everything in place. So I just glued the beginning and the end of this ribbon and just wrapped it around like I said. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in 6 bunches of these grassy yellow floral pieces. I just kind of spaced those out and bent the bottom of the stem and stuck that in there with a little bit of hot glue, and that's going to kind of hold everything in place. And then I layered in lots of white roses in here, and I just kind of went around making clusters and groups of them so that I know that everything is spaced out evenly. And then I also added in some of the green hydrangea flowers, also from Dollar Tree, and spaced those now in between the groups of the white roses. Last but not least, I'm going to add in some of these little yellow glitter berries. These are really pretty for spring as well, and I've been using a lot of these in wreaths, and you guys will see that I'm using them in other colors in upcoming wreaths later on in this video. So that was basically the final touch for this wreath. You can just add enough florals until it looks the way you want it to. You can add a bow if you'd like, but I totally skipped that, and I just went for a really neutral spring or Easter DIY'd wreath here. This is really easy to do. I feel like this wreath really has some whimsical touches for spring. So here is how this one turned out. Moving on now, I'm doing a similar concept. It is another 18-inch wreath frame, and I'm actually going to give this one to my sister. So I wanted to show you guys this because I love the color. I love how it turned out, and I just did the same thing, wrapping ribbon around here and gluing the beginning and end of that ribbon. This is just some leftover ribbon that I had laying around that I was not using, and it gives me a great place again to glue my florals in here. So I'm starting with lots of blue hydrangea. These are all from Dollar Tree, and I think the blue ones are just so pretty for spring. And my sister uses a lot of blue in her decor, so I think she's going to really like this, and I'm going to be giving it to her for her birthday actually, along with some other DIYs. I've been painting and just doing so many things, so I've got a bunch of fun things for her since she just moved. Hopefully she's going to really enjoy having some new stuff for her place. So I decided to include some of these. Dollar Tree has lots of white lilies, tulips. There's plenty of options. And then I basically just kind of grouped these in 2 sections and then filled in the sections as I went along, just to make sure that everything was really evenly spaced out. Now for this one, I do want to add a bow onto here. Again, it's optional because I think this would look so gorgeous even without a bow. You really don't need it. So if you're not into making bows, just make it simple on yourself, and why not just go ahead and fill it in with florals? It's going to look amazing. But if you do want to go ahead and add a bow, Dollar Tree does have some really pretty pastel ribbons right now for springtime, and I think these are just really beautiful. I thought it's almost like a robin's egg blue, and I thought it was really pretty, so I actually used an entire roll. They're 9 feet long, and I used the whole roll here, and I just basically folded this ribbon back and forth over on itself and made like just one huge bow and gathered that up and with a little pipe cleaner, and I just tied that with the wire and twisted it right in there onto the wreath. And I did layer in some curls of white glittery deco mesh. This shiny white deco mesh is really pretty, and they do carry this in the spring. They carry it through the holidays. With the deco mesh, I cut 4 or 5 sections that are about 6 to 8 inches long each, and then I just they kind of curl in on themselves. So I just kind of let them curl naturally and gathered them all and pinched them in the middle with another piece of that pipe cleaner wire, and then I just twisted and tied that in beneath the blue bow that we just made, just so I could kind of layer it. I feel like the deco mesh really adds like a fun whimsical touch, and it really helps fill in your space. It adds a different texture and sparkle to the wreath, and it's definitely very light and airy, which I really like for spring. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of silver ribbon because I know my sister also really likes silver, and I don't know where this is from, but I've had it laying around, so I just decided to go for it. But you guys can use an Easter ribbon or just stick with the blues and whites, you know, whatever it is that you want to do. I'm going to just make a little bow here and add in the silver here with the blue and white. And here is how this wreath turned out. I can't wait to give this one to my sister. Now I needed a bunch of butterflies for this DIY. I'm just spray painting all of them gold, and I'm also using a small hula hoop from Dollar Tree, which I just peeled the wrapper off of first, and then I spray painted that gold as well. And then once everything is dry, I just used hot glue to arrange my butterflies along the edges in a cluster like this, attaching the wings of one to another and extending them into the center like this. You can do as few or as many as you like. I think I have about 18 butterflies on here right now. You could easily do 20, 30 butterflies, maybe even more if you want to make it a lot more full, which I think would be so pretty as well. I'm taking an 18-inch wreath frame from Dollar Tree along with some leftover ribbon, so you could use whatever you have for this. I'm just using up one that I had laying around that I have no other plan for, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just use it as a base for this wreath. And you don't even need to cover the whole wreath, just basically you want to kind of cover about half the form, you know, just so you have kind of something to glue your flowers onto or to tuck the stems in between. So I just wrapped this all the way around the wreath, and as you can see, I did leave some spaces in there. Now once that's finished, I just glued it again at the end here. So I actually have 3 different types of pink flowers here. The majority are 2 different types, peonies, and then I think these are mums or asters. And then I did have these other ones that, I don't know, they kind of look like zinnias or something to me. I don't know what Dollar Tree is calling them, but I could only find 1 bouquet of those, so I don't have many. But I did also grab some of these little glitter berry flower things, and Dollar Tree has lots of these in different colors for spring. So I grabbed some pink ones, and I'm gonna do a whole bunch of pink on this wreath. So I basically started by taking this first set of pink flowers and grouping them in 2. So I have kind of one facing more toward the inside of the wreath, one facing more to the outside of the wreath, and I just did them kind of side by side together like this all the way around. And I did try to space them out evenly before I glued them in place so that I had an idea where they were going to be going. And then I spaced out some of these little darker pink ones here that I just had 1 bouquet of, and I'm going to kind of see where I want those. But before I glue them in, I'm going to go ahead and add those peonies in now, which I basically did kind of on both sides of the first flowers that I added in here. And then I came back with those pink glitter berries, and I'm adding those in between the other flower bunches. And that's basically all I did for this. I just glued everything on into place. You can add a little glue and then kind of tuck them underneath behind the ribbon. That'll also help hold it in place. I filled in all the way around, leaving a little space at the bottom here. You could obviously just go all the way around with this, use a few extra flowers and fill it in. For me, I thought it would be fun to add a bow on here, so that is what I'm gonna do. And for my bow, I'm starting with a nice big pile of deco mesh. So I basically just folded this over on itself, like 18 inches or so long, and then fold it back, and then fold it back to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, make a few folds, and then I just gathered it and tied it off in the center. And now I'm gonna do another like little bow on top of that. Now for this one, I did it kind of with this rose gold mauve pink color. This one is actually from Hobby Lobby. I got it back at Christmas time, but you could get some pink ribbon from Dollar Tree as well in their spring section. So just use whatever works for you. I already had this, so I'm going to use that. I tied a little bow, and then I also took one of these sheer pink ribbons, also from Dollar Tree's spring section, and I love this shiny pretty. It's like a sheer light blush pink with a shiny edge to it. So pretty. So I just layered these on here as a beautiful bow, and that pretty much completes the look. I think this is just absolutely so pretty.
I've been waiting all my life for something. I've been down the darkest roads and up in the clouds, but I've always felt that something's missing.
I love how big this 18-inch wreath frame is, and it was just $1 at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to take about 7 bundles of the Dollar Tree nautical rope and cover this wreath frame. I did use glue in between the ropes, but only on the back side of the wreath, so the front part would have a nice, neat, clean look. Next, I'm going to take one of these hanging wall art signs from Dollar Tree that says Hope, and I just used a good amount of hot glue to glue the little knot hanger into the back of the wreath in between the nautical ropes. And then I took a bit of Dollar Tree burlap ribbon and I layered this white ribbon from Target's Dollar Spot. This was just $1. And then a piece of this more decorative little ribbon also from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut the pieces long enough to kind of fold over around itself to make a loop and have a portion hanging down. I cut another portion of the rope, another set of these 3 pieces to create another loop and have the end hanging down the opposite way as well. And then I kind of took a little extra end from the first loop and kind of wrapped it around the second loop in the center to create like this little center piece here. And I glued everything in place to make this look like a bow. This was just my lazy little shortcut, but it was really easy to do. Even with 3 layers of ribbon on here, I think it turned out really cute. I did go in and angle the edges a little bit, and then I added some Dollar Tree greenery in behind the bow, and that's about it. I was a little bit undecided if I should add some little flowers, maybe in red or white or pink, something to coordinate with like a certain summer color theme. But I feel like the rustic farmhouse look of this is just gonna work perfectly on the log cabin door out on the farm, and I think I just want to leave it neutral just with some greenery. But comment and let me know what color you think would go well with this if we did want to add a color and add some flowers.
I could be wrapped around your arms instead of being lonely. We could be gazing at the stars, but now it feels just like I wandered off into a room and closed the door behind me.
Now moving on for the next one, I'm taking a grapevine wreath from Dollar Tree along with one bunch of the Dollar Tree ferns, which I just cut these apart and I placed some going up and some going down on the left side over here. And on top of that, I want to layer some tulips in here. So I actually got these on the Wish app, which I know ordering from Wish can definitely be hit or miss. You find some really good deals and sometimes not. But I actually really liked these tulips. I think they look a lot more realistic actually than the Dollar Tree ones, and I don't remember what I paid, but it was not that expensive. So I'm gonna add these tulips on here. I'm just hot gluing everything on. And then I wanted to add a sign on here, which I debated using a welcome sign. I did find a couple really nice ones at Hobby Lobby, which I heard that their 40% coupon was going away. So comment down below and let me know if you guys know if Hobby Lobby still has those coupons. I did purchase these a while ago, but I think I got them when they were half off. Now, the Count Your Blessings sign is the one that I actually want to go with here. I love how the edges of the wood are kind of like burned and finished that way. So I did not want to like spray paint this or anything. I really wanted that darker edge to show. So I decided to actually just take a little bit of that white Dollar Tree acrylic paint and just lightly kind of paint over the top just to really give it like a little extra brightness and really make it pop. But you could do this in whatever color you want, and by all means, if you want to, you could definitely spray paint it. But now I'm gonna go ahead with a little hack for a super easy DIY bow. And you guys, this might be like, you know, it might be too simple. But comment and let me know. Did I just try you know, did I not try hard enough on this bow? I think I could have probably done a little bit better. But I also feel like it's super, super easy, like stupid easy. If you just are not into bows, you can't mess this up, I don't think. So I basically just took a long piece of this ribbon from Dollar Tree with kind of this chevron pattern on here, and I just folded it over to make a loop and then glued those ends together in the back. So I now have like one large circle. And then I cut another little piece of the ribbon and I glued that right around the center of that large loop. And that way, that's kind of the center of the bow, and I now have the 2 loops sticking out on either side. So hopefully that makes sense. And then I just cut 2 pieces to be the tail of the bow, and I glued those on. And then I glued the little top loops of the bow right above, you know, right on top of those 2 tail pieces. The last thing you need to do is just trim the ends if you want to. Just kind of completes the look, gives it a little more boutique finish, and I cut mine kind of like a fishtail here, but whatever you like, and that's it. I glued my sign in here, Count Your Blessings. I thought this was really pretty. It's something extra unique, but you could definitely just do a welcome sign if you prefer. And I think this wreath turned out really nice for springtime. Moving on, I have a wreath I want to share with you guys. I just took a Dollar Tree willow wreath frame along with one of these little truck signs. I just added some hot glue and put the whole truck and Easter sign right onto the wreath. And then I filled in between the truck and the Easter sign with some hydrangea. And honestly, I didn't even have a full pack of hydrangea, so there was actually missing a few pieces on here. So I think I only had a few of them to stick in there. You could do blue ones if you want to match the blue truck, but I kind of liked the contrast. I think white would also be really pretty, even though I went with the pink because I already had it. I am going to actually reuse this little hanger that came with it. So all you need to do, you see like this, how it gets stuck, right? So just take it and turn it on end, and then you can poke that back through and take it out. And so I'm going to stick this into the wreath and actually make use of these pieces and be able to use this as a hanger in the back part of the wreath itself. Now I can pull on that, and that's in there pretty tightly. I am pulling pretty hard and it's not coming out, so I think it's going to hang up this wreath totally fine. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this other side here. And I think this turned out so cute. You could hang this on a door, you could hang it on the wall. Of course, you could set it on a shelf or something too, if you prefer. Now, moving on to the next one, I think this one turned out really fun. I love how adorable it turned out. The first concept is just taking 2 of these, I think these are called willow wreaths, and I'm taking 2 of them, a smaller one and a larger one, and I'm gonna be attaching them together using a little bit of glue and some leftover burlap ribbon. So what I ended up doing now was taking apart some of these green leaves from Dollar Tree. I used about 1.5 bunches, less than 2 bunches of leaves. I had leaves left over. And then I used, I think, 3 bunches of white roses and 3 bunches of this very subtle light pink. It's almost like an off-white rose. And I just cut all of these so that I had just a little bit of a stem left so that I could stick that with some glue into the willow wreaths. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start by adding in some of these leaves, and basically I just kind of stick them into the spaces in those willow wreaths, space them out, and just add hot glue just to keep them in place there. But they stick really nicely right into the wreath frame. And then I filled in with the white and that kind of very light pastel blush pink rose. So there's a subtle hint of pink on here, but it's a lot of like creamy ivory colors, and I think it turned out really pretty like this. Now you could add more color for sure if you want to do pinks or purple, blue, yellows, you know, whatever works for you. I honestly kept this a very neutral Easter wreath, very neutral spring decor. This didn't take very long to make at all. It was honestly pretty quick and easy, and definitely a fun DIY. Now for the bunny's ears, I had some of this vine. I think I got this back in the fall time, but it has like little green and white berries on it. And I basically just kind of folded it in half to make like maybe an 18-inch long, like 1.5 foot long section. Cut that there, and then I kind of folded the whole thing in half and made an oval like this and shaped the bunny's ear. So I did that 2 times. One was just not that visible, so I think making it, 2 or 3 layers thick gives you a little bit, it makes the ear like a little more substantial. Now I did make a little hanger here just with a little loop of burlap ribbon, and then I glued my bunny's ears right there next to the burlap ribbon on the back of that top wreath there. And here is how my bunny wreath turned out. I think it would be so cute on a front door, just hanging on your wall somewhere. You could hang it on a door indoors, wherever you want to put this. I just think it's really cute, so fun for spring, and definitely great if you're looking for some more neutral spring decor or neutral Easter time decor. This is a really great option. For the next one, you'll need 2 willow wreaths, a larger one and a smaller one. I'm attaching them together using a piece of burlap ribbon that I can wrap around and overlap, and a generous amount of hot glue on all sides to keep this securely in place. I set that aside to dry, and I also shaped a little bow out of the burlap ribbon and attached that on the front. You can do this the quick and lazy way like I'm doing here, or feel free to look up how to make a bow, and I know there's going to be plenty of videos for that here on YouTube. Then I drew 2 oval-shaped bunny ears on a piece of leftover cardboard that I had. I also made the bottom of the ears straight across, not round, because I'm going to just be attaching that bottom onto the back of the top willow wreath. So I cut these out, and then I just traced a little bit larger version of it onto a piece of burlap from these burlap bunny treat sacks that Dollar Tree's carrying right now. And I did cut the fabric a little larger than necessary so that I could wrap it around the edges of the bunny's ears, and just used hot glue to kind of attach that and keep that all down. And then I used hot glue also to attach the bunny ears right behind the top wreath in position to kind of look like ears. For a tail, I really wanted to use white hydrangea flowers, but I couldn't find any in Dollar Tree, so I used the pink ones instead. And I just cut them really close to the stem and then hot glued them on in a circle. To hang this up, you can take a little piece of twine or burlap ribbon and make a hanger. I actually used a piece of twine and looped it through the willow wreath wooden pieces, and since this wall decor is actually very lightweight, it should have no problem holding it up, and this way you don't even see the hanger now. I think this looks really cute, although with a pink tail now I feel like this bunny needs some more pink. Maybe like paint a little bit of pink in the ears, or add some pink ribbon into the bow. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. I just kind of feel like it's missing a little color or needs a little pink or something somewhere else on the bunny. So let me know your thoughts or suggestions. The next one uses a grapevine wreath and also a handful of these succulents that Dollar Tree carries. I'm just using the clips to clip them into the lower half of the wreath how I want them, although realistically you could hot glue them all into place instead. You don't really have to use the clips. And then I'm using this bunny to hang in the center. I tried a couple ways to attach him, but the easiest thing was just using some twine and tying the bunny's twine hanger right onto the top of our wreath and creating my own twine loop hanger out of it. And the bonus is you can then make it as long or short of a hanger for your wreath as you want.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed these wreath DIYs. Let me know which one was your favorite. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as always, I wish you a beautiful and blessed day. And so does Kimchi here. And I will see you guys soon in the next one. Bye.